So, my review of Ghostbusters Afterlife was essentially a thought experiment. To imagine a movie, a sentimental Spielbergian coming-of-age story about a young teenager's trauma dealing with isolation in a sleepy rural town and discovering his absentee father's golf clubs, which help him learn the true meaning of family. And it's for some reason called Caddyshack, Stroke of Luck. What I was doing was calling to attention what a strange choice it is to repurpose a beloved vintage 80s comedy to tell a story like that. And after seeing Afterlife, the only real emotion that I felt, confusion, wasn't from the movie, but from the online discourse afterwards, suggesting that it was the franchise's return to form. I disagreed. Like Slimer, whatever its original form was, it is definitely something new now. That movie was well-made, sincere, and careful to respect the lore of the original, but it wasn't a comedy, and in the age of Super 8, It, and Stranger Things, to me it barely stood out in the style that it was clearly matching, which I call the teenager dusty reveal genre, or guys, you need to see this movies. Now I'm not suggesting sequels shouldn't evolve from the form. If you are, watch Police Academy Mission to Moscow, shower, and then get back to me. But the Ghostbusters IP is special in that the foundational movie is such a unique experience. It's the most celebrated of the SNL alums being funny in a sandbox formula, in which the only thing that ever really changed was the sandbox. Yeah, Dan Aykroyd did and still does have a passion for the supernatural, but any time spent watching the behind the scenes of the original movie shows that lore wasn't on anyone's mind. Hell, typical film structure wasn't on anyone's mind. It's one of the few movies where a case can be made that it's not really about anything. No one has an arc, no one learns anything except that when someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes. It's just a really funny movie, hung on a high-concept lore that happens to also be appealing. And let me be clear, for a long time, all I had was the lore. As a kid who didn't understand the jokes, much less the fellatio reference, I had the toys, this isn't causing psychological damage. I watched the show, drank the drink, and I think I embarrassed myself to a few school guidance counselors suggesting that, I don't know, catching ghosts might be a genuine career choice if I could get my grades up. But as I came of age, I started appreciating Ghostbusters and its sequel for the comedies that they set out to be, and the original rightfully took its place at the top of my list of films that perfected their genre. I still loved the concept, but I realized the movie worked because of chemistry and timing. All this is to say, I found it strange that Afterlife tried to reinvigorate the franchise by leaning hard into the lore and abandoned the entire style, mood, and pacing that made the original something that we wanted to see more of. And Frozen Empire doubles down on that attention to concept over structure to such a bland degree that I'm still only 60% sure that's the name of the movie. Like Afterlife, it has heart, it's well made, but it's not doing anything particularly special. And that's going to stand out when you use a name like Ghostbusters. Just like the Jurassic World films, these movies aren't offensive in isolation, but they advertise themselves on nostalgia for literally some of the best films ever made. And I can't be the only one who sees more of a responsibility there. And I don't expect that every addition to a beloved IP has to knock it out of the park, but I do think the trade-off of being able to use the music, the iconography, and the familiarity of a beloved IP is that you have a higher bar to clear. And failing to do so stands out even more when it coincides with the revival of a classic cartoon that successfully pushes things forward in the exact same style that we fell in love with to begin with. So, if your teenager's uncovering supernatural mystery itch has gone unscratched since Stranger Things, and all you're really looking for is a high-concept, quirky adventure that peppers in tame family drama and the occasional snarky quip that, while genuine, isn't particularly memorable, then yeah, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is completely serviceable. But if, however, you find yourself quoting the original more than you find yourself wondering about the lore, if the franchise to you still means talented actors and a densely packed comedy, then like me, you're not just gonna be bored, you're gonna spend a lot of time wondering why do you feel so disconnected from something that is clearly passionately trying to tell the next story in a franchise that everybody loves. A pull between wanting to appreciate the effort but also a frustration so much effort was made in this direction. I think I'm just frustrated that Hollywood seems intent on ignoring the risky process of creating new IPs while at the same time watering down the ones we love. Or in this case, freezing them solid. What'd you think?